Hey guys, this is Dan from learningcameras.com, and here I've got the brand new Fuji X100s camera, and I just wanted to give you a little preview on this camera because I've been so impressed with it. We're going to have a full review coming up on it, but I just wanted to run you down some of the things that I've been enjoying about this camera and some of the image quality that I've seen from it. So overall, I just came from the Fuji X20, and although that was a great camera and I really enjoyed using it, I found myself still wanting a little bit more quality out of it, and so I would still take around a full-size DSLR camera around anytime that I could, and I would only rely on the Fuji if I absolutely had to, like I couldn't fit a bigger camera with me. This is going to have a bigger sensor, same sensor as in like the Canon 7D and the Nikon D7100, so we're going to see some much better image quality out of this than we do with the other camera. Now the button placement is very similar layout to the other one, very similar feel, but everything is just so much better. You do have shutter control here. I will say that the shutter control you can only select in double digits, so you're going to have like a 60th of a second, 125, 250th, 500th. You're not going to get any of those third stop intervals that I'm used to. So I found it difficult to fine tune using the shutter. A lot of the time I just shot aperture priority, switched it over to automatic, and then used the exposure comp dial right here, which is so easy to get to make most of my exposure adjustments rather than shooting manually, but you can very easily. I love the easy access to the manual controls. I will say it's a little difficult to find the aperture control. It's a little tough to get to, but once you kind of get the feel of it, it's very nice to have access to it right there. It does have an auto right on the, if you swing it all to one side, it gives you the auto, and now you're shooting at shutter priority. If you switch the shutter to A as well, now you're shooting in just regular standard P mode basically on a DSLR, and then you have your exposure comp here. Function button, you can program that to whatever you want. The viewfinder is a big deal here. The viewfinder is got both an optical viewfinder and an electronic viewfinder on that, so an EFE as well. So you're going to get basically the benefits of having both, and the image can be displayed on the screen. So you have three ways of looking at this image, either on the screen digitally, in the viewfinder digitally, or you can get the optical on that. Now if you're shooting very close up, you're going to want to not do the optical because there is a little bit off axis on that. Now with the Fuji X20 we only had the optical viewfinder, and I will say the electronic is very nice to have in many areas. You still get the viewfinder, so I love being able to hold that up, block out the light, get a real view of my image and what it's going to look like. So the quality is good. It's not great. It's nothing super. You do have some lag on there, but nothing that you can't get used to. I don't see it as that big of a deal. And once again, just a flip of this switch right here, and you're back to optical, and a flip of the switch again, and it takes about half a second, and you're back to using the electronic viewfinder on it. Overall, very nice quality. One of the things that I didn't like about the X20 is when I chose my focus point, it really just gave me an area in the viewfinder, and the only time I could actually see the result of what the actual area was that I was selecting was inside the screen. Now with the ability to have an electronic viewfinder too, I can get a very accurate pinpoint on where my autofocus area is, much easier to switch between them. And you do have the ability, if you hold your finger up to this, you can see when you put your eye to the viewfinder, it will shut the screen off so that you're not looking at it in the viewfinder. Very nice feature on that. You do have your hot shoe on there as well. Everything feels a lot like the X20 though. Not really any better in build quality, not really any less. Feels very similar. I do wish this, just like the X20, was a little softer plastic. Kind of feels very hard to the touch, but I love the metal trim around it. It is much heavier. I noticed that as soon as I took it out of the box, it was much heavier than the X20 was, but it is a little bit smaller profile all the way around. Now we do lose that zoom lens, and that's going to be a big one for me as far as purchasing this camera. This is a very expensive camera at $1,300, probably not something you're going to want to purchase with a 35mm fixed lens. It's not an all, you know, it doesn't do everything well. It's going to do stuff that is going to be great for that 35mm focal length. So if you're looking to shoot anything, a lot of portraits or anything further away or sports, this is not going to be the camera to use. So for blowing that kind of money on a camera that only has certain benefits, it's not going to be for everyone. And that's going to be the only problem with I have. The lens quality seems to be amazing. Everything seems to be great on it. You do have a macro mode as well, so you can get really close on subjects. It is at a 35 millimeter equivalent, so it is a little bit wider, but you can get up to 4 inches away from the subject on that, so that's nice to see. So great lens. If you can do the 35 millimeter, you're gonna love it, and we'll show you the full quality, how we're getting in low light, some of that kind of stuff, but this will kind of give you a basic preview of how this camera is performing.